So a couple of days have passed since I was last out here. It's turned cold and rainy, and it's very cold in here. Well, I shouldn't say very cold. It's in the 50s in here, and I need to go ahead and try to get all this drywall up so I can get that mini split installed. At least try to warm it up in here a little bit. So I'm going to start over here on this wall today, and see how far we can get before we call it a night. I'm hoping now that I'm kind of getting used to the groove of things, it'll go pretty fast. I'm still having issues trying to work out that roto zip, and it's most likely user error. I think it most likely works just fine, and from what I've read, it does a really good job around all of these boxes. The only problem is, because they are plastic, it has a tendency to cut through them if you don't know what you're doing. And guess what? I really don't know what I'm doing, so I'm really messing up those boxes, which I think you can get inserts to use in repairing all of those cuts, which I'll probably end up having to do. So what I'll probably end up doing is using a manual hole saw to go around all of those cuts rather than going with the roto zip. I may use it to do an initial plunge, just to get a nice little hole started, and then go around with the saw. So yeah, that's it for that. I'm gonna go ahead and get started right here. So upon further inspection, I'm trying to set this up here. The plan was to just use one whole sheet and then go back and zip this part out. I'm not going to have the best alignment around these door hinges for that process. The bit in the roto zip isn't long enough to follow the frame, so I'm going to have to cut this piece into sections to fit in, which is okay. I really want to avoid as much mudding as possible, mudding and taping. That's just more time consuming, especially for me, because I'm just not that good at it. And I wanted to avoid as much of that as I possibly could. It's just unavoidable here, so I'm going to go ahead and take this back down, cut it to size, slap it up there, and we'll just keep moving along. So that was cut using that bad boy right there. A lot slower process, but much neater than the other ones. And I believe that's the way I'm going to have to do it compared to using the roto zip. I'm just not that great at it. Especially with these boxes being plastic. It just doesn't work that well. So I have no choice but to go by hand, I think. But yeah, at least I still have the roto zip to follow along the edges of these window trim and door frame, and that'll help me get through that pretty quick. But yeah, we'll just keep moving along. So that's where we are tonight. I was hoping to be a little bit further than this, but getting these little bit of angles straightened up here, it's a little tedious, but it's nothing that mud can't hide. So I really wanted to get as many of my edges to butt up against each other as well as they possibly could. And it looks as though there's some work I need to do here once I put the tape up. Try to make that look a little straighter and less at an angle, coming to an angle down at the bottom. I don't know how much of that I can actually fix. We have this door cut in. It looks ugly the way it is, but I'm guessing once I can fill these in a little bit better and put in the words frame around it, it'll look better. But yep, that is where we are tonight. I'm going to straighten up a little bit so that I don't have to tomorrow when I come in. I'm just going to go ahead and move everything over so everything will be good and ready, and we can kind of go in here and get started. So I'll catch y'all tomorrow. So we've made it to the next day. We'll pick up where we left off last night, except not continuing from right here. I'm going to stop and save this portion, and hopefully it'll help speed up the process a little bit, because I felt like I had to do so much cutting and stuff around there. If I just come over here and do this portion, I feel like it won't take me as long, and maybe it'll help me get further quicker. It's all got to get done one way or another. At least that's just my thought process at the moment. If I go over here and do this, I'll be able to focus on this, get this done in a decent amount of time, and somehow I'll get this finished a lot faster. I don't know. That's just how I see it in my head. I'm not sure, but that's what I'm going with. So I'm just going to jump right into it. So I've decided for my next trick is to shut the power off in here just because I am dealing with this panel. I feel a lot better about doing this. Even if it's in complete darkness, I'm going to go grab my headlight and yeah, we'll get this done. So, after a little time messing around in the dark, I was able to put that up. I ended up having to do the whole thing by hand. The whole thing by hand. The bit for the roto zip, as soon as I buzzed to about right here, the bit broke. I guess that's a thing that happens. And I didn't think about buying any extras for it, so it's done anyway. So I felt like I did such a better job using this anyway. Wearing myself out in the process a little bit. Poor pitiful me. I'm just going to use this to cut the remainder off by the window right quick. So I was about to throw up another sheet, and I just remembered I broke the bit on the roto zip. I really think I'm going to need that to get a better rounded cut here, rather than trying to do that by hand with the keyhole saw. So that is going to do it for the night. Got another wall down, mostly. If we can get this one done tomorrow, then all I'll have to do is left to fill in above the top plate, which that'll probably take me even longer than doing these, just because all the little cuts to be made here and there at the angles it needs to be and such and so on. I'm tired. I know I say that a lot, but I am. It is what it is. But yeah, that's it for tonight. I need to go purchase some more drywall tomorrow. I'm guessing 4 or maybe 5 sheets. And that should do it. I've got one here, so that would leave me 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, I'm going to say I need to pick up 5 sheets just because of needing to do some stuff up there. And I really don't know how well all of these pieces that I have will do with that. So yeah, that's it. I'm thinking too much now. Rambling. So I'll see y'all tomorrow. So it's another day. I was able to purchase some more drywall. And at least today, I want to be able to get the remainder of this finished up, and then tomorrow work on everything above the top plate. That way we can go ahead and get started on some mud. Got some chilly days. I still have no heat going in here or anything. I did bring a small heater in just to try to warm things up in here a little bit today, because this morning it was about 27 degrees. So it's getting cold. And one thing's for sure, even though it's warmed up outside, it's still just as cold in here right now as it was this morning. And right now it's about 58, 59 degrees outside, and it's still in the 20s in here. So at least the insulation is keeping the temperatures at a certain level. Not where I'd prefer, but as soon as we get this drywall up and in and everything mudded in and painted, I can install that mini split. So the sooner I get this done, the sooner we'll have a nice climate controlled environment. So yeah, no more talky talk. Just gonna get right into it. So I broke the corner down at the bottom. Luckily it's intact enough that I think I could just screw it up there and just tape and mud. Like with every other mistake I've made, tape and mud. Just needs more mud. Well, that's it for the night. It's gotten a lot more echoey in here now. All of the insulation has been mostly covered up, so there's nothing really to muffle the sound. So all I have left to do tomorrow is finish up everything above the top plate, and then we can start mudding. I don't think I'm going to get to the mudding tomorrow, just because I've got some other things going on. So that's pretty much it, and I'll wrap up the video for this session once I get that done tomorrow. Yeah, so I ended up buying a couple more bits for the RotoZip, and it actually started smoking a whole lot when I was going around this border. So I thought I was going to end up with a fire at some point. I did actually burn part of the wood here, but it's on the side that no one will ever see, and it's going to be painted anyway. So that doesn't really matter. I'm trying to make sure there's nothing else before I end this for the night. I've gotten better at cutting out for these boxes. Still making a couple of mistakes here and there, and here. But improvement, yeah, and I would happen to improve when I'm coming to the end. But I still have a lot of patching up that's going to need to be done. So I'm hoping one 5-gallon bucket of all-purpose will get all this mudded and taped before I go back over. You know what? Talking too soon. Getting too far ahead of myself. Let's concentrate on what we got so far. I'll see y'all tomorrow when we get this finished up. So, some days have passed since the last time I was out here. And as you can see out the window, time has changed. It's now dark when I get home. And I think that has contributed to me losing any motivation that I've had out here. But I still need to get the job done, even though I have missed my goal, which was to be finished at the end of October. It is now the 7th of November. So yeah, I'm behind. But some things that needed to be done at the end of October were still done anyway. So it kind of all worked out, even if I did miss my deadline. So now it's just a matter of finishing up this last little bit, which we really don't have a whole lot left to go. I'm going to continue on this section here above the top plate. And the plan is to get this all wrapped up tonight. I want to be done tonight. I want to give this one more bug bombing, smoking, whatever, before I do anything else and start sealing in all of these gaps. Just because I've had a lot of bugs flying in and everything like that. And I would rather go ahead and get those dead and gone and clean this place up before I move on to mud. So, yeah, that's it. It's just the way things go, I guess. You know, everyone finishes on time. And I'm definitely one of those people in this case. But no time for crying and complaining. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm just going to get the job done one way or the other. Well, I didn't get as far as I'd like to. This mess in here is really irritating me. And I need some daylight to come in here and clean. That way I can load some mess up on the truck and just get rid of it. I'm tired of working in clutter. It's got to go. It's got to get out of my way. It's, for whatever reason, it's really starting to irritate me now. I've got to see if I can find some kind of gap filler of some kind. There's a bit of a bow up there, I guess you can see. I'm wondering if I can get one like those little angle pieces. I don't know if they're like fiberglass or PVC plastic or whatever. Something that I can stick up in there, screw it down, and then mud it over. Maybe. I really need one of those right there. I'm not going to be able to fill that in no matter how many cuts I made. That bow, it just wasn't working out right. So, yeah, I need to get something to kind of cover up that gap. It's just too big for mud. It'll just crack all over the place, I think. Yeah, I mean, at least some of it's done, but I'm going to have to wait a few days until the weekend gets here just so I can concentrate on getting some of this garbage out of the way. And then we can move on. But until then, I'll see you in the next couple of days. Well, as you can see, it's all finished up. Also, it's been a few days since the last time I recorded. I spent some time going through trying to clean up some mess in here, just to make it easier to move around, and also took a few days to rest. So this has actually been a couple of weeks, or maybe about a week and a half since the last time I've done a video in here. at least for this segment. But yeah, so it's done. You guys didn't see me finish off the tops here. When I got finished cleaning, I didn't have my camera ready, and I was out here, and I just went ahead and got it done. So it's finished. There's not really much to have seen with that. It's just like everything else you've seen that I've let y'all see through the process anyway. But that's it. Next, I'm going to go through and prep everything just to make sure all the screws are seated properly, and make sure there's no bumps or anything, pieces of debris in the way before I start mudding. And I'm going to do that off camera before I start recording again. There are a lot of gaps. A lot of gaps. So I guess I need to go through that with a quicker drying mud that won't crack before I go through with a general all-purpose for taping. So in the next video, that'll be that where we're just going in and I think you call it pre-fill, where you just go through and clean up, well, not clean up, just fill in all of those gaps. And that's what I'm going to do. Use I guess it has a lot more adhesive in it, whichever the case may be. It dries quicker, and in that way there are no cracks in the mud, from the drying process. And then after all of that sets, and I'll go and I'll start mudding up all the joints and taping. But that's it. We did it. It's up. It's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it is done. So appreciate y'all sticking around. It's been a tedious process, but we're getting there. So I'll see y'all in the next one. I hope y'all have a good night. The next several good nights. However long this is going to take me to get to. Anyway, that's it. Thank you for watching. I'll see y'all in the next one.